Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture.
And this is the news.
And today, unfortunately, we have to kick things off with a very, very sad, tragic piece of news. Unfortunately, ICW's World Heavyweight Champion Lionheart has passed away at the age of just 36 years old. Really horrendous story coming out last night. ICW were the ones who made it public on their Twitter account, and I'll read out their statement here. We are heartbroken to learn of the tragic death of ICW World Heavyweight Champion Adrian Lionheart McCallum. Adrian was a mainstay of ICW and British professional wrestling. Most importantly, he was our friend. His passing leaves a huge hole in the lives of those who knew him. Very, very sad stuff to open up with here.
Yeah, devastating news last night. I didn't have the chance to see him wrestle live, but I've worked with and know a lot of people who have worked with him in the past, and I've heard so many great comments about him. I saw, well, you looked on social media last night and literally everyone was commenting about him.
William Regal, Pete Dunne, Cassius Ono, loads of people.
Some guys, like we work with, like Joe Coffey, Joe Hendry, they all expressed how much he was influential to them, how much he was a great guy, how much they loved working with him. A huge loss for the British wrestling scene.
It really is. Like, a little bit of background on him. Lionheart started wrestling, I believe, in 2001 or 2002. He made it to ICW, which is where he put forth his most known work in 2007, and it was a long road to the top for him in ICW. He, grafted away. He became known as one of the most effective heels in British wrestling. He unfortunately suffered a very, very, very unfortunate neck break while wrestling AJ Styles a few years ago. It was predicted at one point that he'd never walk again, but I think it speaks volumes to the man's character that he was able to battle back from that, and for his career to really peak in the past 12 months or so. He became ICW World Champion for the first time at the Fear and Loathing event, besting Jackie Polo in a title versus career match just last December. Since then, he had mounted something like 7 or 8 successful title defenses. Very highly thought of guy, and it's a real shame it's always a shame to report stuff like this, but he really was one of the last pillars on the UK independent scene standing after everyone had kind of gone to WWE and other promotions. He was one of the true veterans of the scene, a very well liked and respected guy. Rest in peace, man. Like, I really hate covering stories like this, but unfortunately they've got to be done.
Yeah, exactly. The thoughts of us all here at WhatCulture go out to Lionheart's friends 100%. And family. Right, let's move on now to AEW, and it's been announced on the latest episode of The Road to Fighter, the episode 3 of AEW series, that the new AEW Women's World Championship is going to be unveiled at All Out at the end of August. Excited to see that.
Yeah, this is good stuff. I mean, it had to come eventually, really. Brandy Rhodes spoke on this. She also confirmed the reports that came out last week, suggesting that 137,000 people were in the queue for tickets to All Out. Now, obviously, a lot of them would have been duplicates and people with multiple browser windows open, but whatever. The women's title is obviously the big news here. We obviously saw the women's division highlighted with the 4-way match that Britt Baker won at Double or Nothing, and as well as the Joshi 6-woman tag. Really good stuff there. At Fyter Fest, there is another 3-way match on the line. You have to imagine that someone like Nyla Rose, who's being promoted as her nickname, the Native Beast, might come away with a victory there. But it's going to be great to see the likes of Nyla Rose, Britt Baker, Kylie Ray, Riho, Hikaru Shida. All these people have something to fight for because they do need it.
And I'm really excited to see what the belt looks like. I mean, the AEW Men's World Championship looks absolutely phenomenal. So fingers crossed, this one has a picture of a butterfly on it.
Yeah, that would be a real step in the right direction, wouldn't it? But no, in all seriousness, it's going to be really good to see kind of like a hierarchy emerging. It would be great to see some singles matches from this scene because we haven't seen any yet. So here we go.
Agreed.
Let's move on. We're going to talk about Matt Hardy over in WWE. He is obviously a guy who is well known for being really, really creative on social media, and he's always coming out trialing new characters and suggesting big gimmick changes and all these other things. And guess what? He's at it again. So he's actually uploaded this video to Twitter, and I'm not going to be able to match the man's delivery because he's brilliant and I'm an idiot. However, I'm just going to quote. You haven't seen this.
No, I don't know what this is.
So I'm just going to quote it word for word and tell you exactly what he said.
I've been at work since 11 a.m. this morning. I can't even begin to describe how challenging today has been. At work, I was tasked with fulfilling 2 intricate, detailed compelling segments of live television. I can't put into words how difficult that is. I don't even think the authors of pain could be the authors of my pain. You don't understand how hard it is to be Matt Hardy.
What do you reckon of this?
I love everything that man does. He was on TV for what? Well, he chased Shelton Benjamin around the ring for a bit, but prior to that,
Senor Benjamin.
His only appearance was calling Shelton Benjamin Senor Benjamin after leaving Baron Corbin's office. Just give him more TV
give him
time.
The belt. He's a really creative guy. Like, obviously, like a couple of months ago, we saw him do that multifarious thing where he was running through all his old characters, Big Money Matt, Matt Hardy, V1, Woken Matt, bringing them to life on social media. That didn't make it to WWE television, so obviously there's no guarantee that this is going to make it to television. But, you know, like, the guy's a wrestling legend. It would be really cool to see him make it back, perhaps with this sarcastic, over-the-top character. He's certainly more than capable of pulling it off.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't want to see more wrestling on WWE. That is the cornerstone of it all. But, you know, we've seen Bray Wyatt, we've seen R-Truth. Their characters, arguably the best bits of TV each week for a long time now. So if someone said we're going to give Matt Hardy a 5-minute segment each week on either Raw or SmackDown, I'm not going to complain.
Just do fun stuff. I think, like, a take I read online the other day that I really agree with is that most of the best stuff on WWE television at the moment is the stuff that isn't trying to be the best.
Yeah.
It's stuff like the 24/7 Championship. It's not trying to steal the show, but it kind of inadvertently is because it's so much lighthearted fun.
Yeah.
And, you know, we'll actually have a wee update on that towards the end of this video. But the characters are really coming out. It's really just watching R-Truth make the most of these little opportunities. The Firefly Funhouse as well. Like, it's, you know, it's not being presented as this big main event program. It's just a subtle reinvention for a much undermined performer. Now, hopefully it can become something bigger and it will result in a main event push for Mr. Wyatt. But it's all good stuff at the moment. I would love to see the same thing from Big Money Matthew.
Yeah, give Matt some more TV time and maybe stick a mid-card title on him.
Yeah.
I don't know which one because they're both with pretty good people right now, but anyway, make up his own one. Yeah. Right, let's move on to an update on Christopher Daniels, one of my favourite wrestlers of all time, who's announced that he almost retired prior to signing with AEW. Now, this was an episode of Talk of Jericho. All of SCU were on it. And I'll just quote what Christopher Daniels said here. He said, "When we pitched this idea, honestly, the original idea when I pitched it was that it might be my transition out of the ring. The idea was going to be, in my head, January 2018, my idea was going to be Frankie and Sky were still going to be there and I was going to leave because I didn't win a contract or I didn't get my contract renewed. And then I would return as the matchmaker or GM or whatever the authority figure was going to be because I thought, oh well, by that time I'll be 49. 49 is a good number to transition out of the ring, except now I'm a month away from being 49 and I don't want to get out of the ring yet." Amazing to think that he almost retired.
Yeah, it is. Like, Christopher Daniels has just been going so hard for so long that it's kind of hard to think of like a wrestling scene without the guy. Like, he is a tremendous professional. He's obviously a real veteran. The guy's pushing 50. And here he is in AEW, the second biggest North American promotion, doing big things. He's going to wrestle Shima at Fyter Fest next week. By the way, there was a really excellent segment on Road to Fighter that you should check out for more information on that match and their background together. Really good Daniels interview. But yeah, no, it's good to see that perhaps AEW came along and he thought, you know what, I can do this for another couple of years.
I just can't get around the fact that over a year ago he thought, yeah, I think that might be it for me, and then he was entrusted with the opening match for All Elite Wrestling.
The scene-setting match, and
they did brilliantly. SC.
They did. It was a cracking match against the former Dragon Gate guys in Shima, T-Hawk, and El Lindemann, but. The fact that he's still able to go like at this level at his age, he's kind of like a marvel in this sport. When you think of how old and broken down like other performers of his age, particularly those ones who hang about in WWE, are, great to see him still being able to do the thing that he loves, and he's a big credit to the company.
Yeah, as one of the few shining lights in TNA when I used to watch it, you know, him and AJ Styles and Joe used to just put on absolute classic.
Man, some of those
I really hope he gets a lot of exposure in All Elite Wrestling and really, you know, make something of it. I know probably he doesn't really mind about winning championships or whatever, but I could chuck him into a title feud and be excited. Best moonsault ever.
Best moonsault ever, best Meltzer ever as well, of course. He is the ideal guy as well to put younger talent over, so hopefully we'll see a lot of that.
Don't retire yet, Chris.
Yeah, we love you. We're going to move on. We're going to talk about WWE now. When we talk about WWE creative, obviously, we think of the grip being really tight. Vince McMahon has all the control.
That's good.
pal. And talent are obviously very restricted and all this other stuff, but we've got a new report coming to you from the great folks over at Fightful, who are reporting that WWE Creative are now actually encouraging talent to pitch more ambitious and creative ideas because they're just that desperate to stop the rot. So they're encouraging people to come forward. And one of the areas they've been asking people to do this is in the 24/7 championship, and it is generally believed backstage that the reason that has been so successful for the company is because it's a bit more hands-off. The talent and guys like R-Truth and Drake Maverick are coming up with a lot of this stuff on their own, so that's a really positive sign. Now, personally, I don't think we'll ever see a day where Vince McMahon doesn't go, I've got all the power, brothers. But it's really good to hear that perhaps they're letting people express themselves a little bit more.
It's about damn time, isn't it? And
really
like you
is.
say, if the 24/7 championship has been used as a sort of litmus test, then it's worked perfectly.
Yep.
Drake Maverick was the guy who pissed himself at Survivor Series alongside, obviously, his roles on 205 Live. But now, him and R-Truth have created this wonderful dichotomy for that championship. You've got Jinder Mahal in and around the mix doing stuff at least. You've got, Shelton Benjamin got himself a little bit over this week. You've got, obviously, Titus O'Neil just being brilliant.
Being the best.
And just continually being brilliant, to be honest. But yeah, hopefully, this will be a sign of better things to come higher up the card, like you say, with potential championship feuds. Now, granted, I did also read on Squared Circle this morning that Vince loved the fact that Alexa Bliss brought a coffee cup down to ringside. So, it is with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
But, good.
Pinch of
It's better than nothing, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a step in the right direction. Here's hoping it creates some more memorable TV.
Agreed. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions. Don't forget you can send them to us at WhatCulture WWE. Richard McLarnon asks our first question today. He says, is Stomping Grounds the worst name for a WWE pay-per-view ever? If not, what is?
Great Balls of Fire.
I think it is Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah, but the thing about the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view name is that it's so bad, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, they sort of made it work, didn't they?
Yeah, it's so stupid and over the top that by the end I was kind of like, this is awful. Like, it's the worst pay-per-view name ever. But
all the others kind of make sense. Vengeance, Unforgiven. Even Stomping Grounds, it's like, granted, it's in a location that isn't like a WWE stomping ground, but anyway, it has relevance. Great Balls of Fire is just insane.
Got another one for you. Obviously, it was relevant given the pay-per-view's gimmick, but Fatal 4-Way.
Oh, yeah, that was a bad one. I like the gimmick ones. I like Hell in a Cell. I obviously love Money in the Bank. But yeah. A whole pay-per-view dedicated to Fatal 4-Ways.
Can't wait for WWE singles match in 2021.
Also, not bad, but just questionable. Capital Punishment.
Moving swiftly on.
Let us know your thoughts on the crap names for WWE pay-per-views. I'm sure we've missed some. Angela Dawn, regular contributor, of
Legend.
course, asks us a great question. If you could create your own Mount Rushmore for tag teams, which 4 teams would you choose?
Oh my goodness, that is...
I think we should take 2 each here and caveat it with, you feel free to comment. We aren't officially doing this, we're just coming off the top of my head. The first name that, for me, has to be on the Mount Rushmore for tag teams is Too Cool. They were the guys who got me into tag team wrestling.
Respect.
Like, I love the Dudley Boys, I love the Hardy Boys, I love Edge and Christian, I love that. You could argue that you sort of just amalgamate them all together in some sort of weird hybrid for one of those tag teams. But for me, Too Cool were my tag team, and Phil Chambers is editing this today's news piece, and he bloody loves them too.
Cool. Well, if we're let's do one subjective and one objective.
Okay.
So subjectively, I'm going to go for Edge and Christian.
Cool.
Because while they didn't necessarily have the longest run, like a similar situation to yourself, they were my favourites growing up. They were so charismatic. They were so much fun. The poses, the concertos, the conquistador stuff. I loved them, and when they split, I was just really upset.
Yeah. I'm going to go for Michael McGillicuddy and David Otunga. No.
The Genesis.
Wow, it's really... I'm probably just going to have to say the Hardy Boys. I'm obviously biased.
Okay.
I'm picking from a very specific time period, but it's got to... I know that there's loads and loads of tag teams that came before, loads far more infamous that have influenced them, but my personal Mount Rushmore has got Too Cool and the Hardy Boys on, apparently.
Well, I don't think anyone can really argue with the Hardy Boys. For the final spot, I guess, I could sit here and go Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express.
Exactly, yeah.
All these legendary tag teams, but that would be dishonest because I didn't come up as a wrestling fan when they were on. So as far as teams that I have the most experience watching and therefore in the best position to judge as all-timers, and this is going to piss a lot of people off, but personally I think they're top 5 tag team ever, the Young Bucks.
Yes.
Like, they've got literally everything, and their 2018 was a massive middle finger to anyone who has ever said anything stupid, like they don't understand psychology, they can't sell, they don't know how to tell stories, all this stuff, because it was a year largely built around Matt Jackson's injured back, and the way they built matches around this thing in new creative ways was really astonishing stuff to watch. They're one of the best of all time. Stop hating.
Who is on your Mount Rushmore of tag teams? Let us know in the comment section
The
below.
Brood.
Final question today comes from someone calling themselves Good Tweets Doer. Lola's got a lot of time for that. Who says, two-part question for you guys. With Breeze and Dane back in NXT and Gable moving to 205 Live, who would you like to see move to these shows for their own exposure, and who would you like to see move for the exposure of the shows themselves?
Oh my goodness gracious me. 205 Live, going there is kind of a tough one because you're not going to get any exposure out of going there, but I guess if a bigger name goes there, they might encourage more people to watch it. So, looking at that, it's kind of tough. Like, I want to say Johnny Gargano, but it's kind of hard to gauge NXT stars' popularity because we're in a bubble and we're watching it. Maybe a guy like Finn Balor over there.
Ooh.
Like, I don't necessarily think it would be good for him, but I think it'd be good for the brand.
Rey Mysterio?
Rey, yeah, like that's much better. Yeah.
Yeah. and also Cedric Alexander, just because I feel really sorry for him.
I feel quite bad for him as well. Yeah.
Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below yet again. Right, let's move on to today's and finally. And Andy Murray, WWE shop sells some, let's just say, questionable items. I mean, you look at the t-shirts, that's what we buy for each other in the office.
I know exactly what this is.
Yes, but there is one thing that has just been announced which might be the best thing ever and has probably encouraged me to speed up the process of having a child with my fiancé, because they now sell Baby on board bumper stickers for the Adam Cole fans out there. I mean, we have to buy these for the Dudley boys, right?
I mean, I'm going to buy one for myself, and that's kind of an issue because, number one, I don't own a car, and number two, I'm never having kids, so...
Just slap it on.
Yeah.
I'm just wearing it, it's cool. Let us know the weird and wonderful other things that you found on WWE Shop over the years, because there's quite a few of them.
There is some bangers out there, isn't there? Just check Ben Roy's wardrobe. He's got all of them.
Right, let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And you can send us Twitter questions at WhatCultureWWE. While you're there, you can follow both of us. You can follow him at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for hypnotic.
You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. You can follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. My thanks to Andy Murray, who's wearing a disguise now. My thanks to you for watching, and we will see you soon.
Why am I doing this? It's really sore and stupid.
You watching there, you can follow both of us. You can follow him at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for hangry.
You can follow me. I'm going to get you some toast.
Yeah.
You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. You can follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. My thanks to Andy. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.
What if you took the slice of toast and put it between two bits of bagel? Double carbs.